Welcome to Theme Weavers, your weekly wisdom for weaving yoga themes into your classes. We're your hosts, Heidi
and Farron. Oh, is it me? Welcome, yoga teachers, to episode 3 of Theme Weavers. Today we're going to talk about Yoga Sutra 1.1. We started talking about this last episode, but we're going to dive deeper into it. In case you're unfamiliar with the Yoga Sutras, they are a collection of 196 verses written around 400 CE by the ancient Indian sage named Patanjali. As we mentioned in episode 2, sutra is a Sanskrit word that means thread in English. And like a thread that weaves through a tapestry, all of the sutras are connected and build upon one another. Before we hop in, please check out episode 2 of Theme Weavers to help give you some background on the structure of how and why to weave themes throughout your yoga classes. And we plan to talk to you, fellow yoga teachers, as if you are our students that we are delivering this theme to. If you choose to use Sutra 1.1 as your theme and take advantage of our inspo sheets, then just find a way to turn our voices into yours. Make this theme feel authentic to you.
Can I just say, yeah, wait, before you even get into it, I have to interrupt because you know me.
Okay.
I'm an interrupter. So this podcast that we're making is for yoga teachers, right? But I have to be honest, my mother listened to our first episode and she's like, I'm so bummed. I'm not a yoga teacher and I really wanted to listen to this and now I can't.
Aw, listen anyway.
Yeah, I think it's okay. If you're not a yoga teacher, we might be wording this for yoga teachers, but there is a place for anybody that either just really likes us as humans and wants to listen to us, or if you find us entertaining, or if you really like yoga philosophy and want to understand your practice at a deeper level. This is for you too. It's okay. You don't have to be a teacher.
Because you'll get that dose of yoga philosophy. It's not like you need to go around and like teach this to anybody else, but you can still get it for yourself. So that's cool. Good point.
Yeah, I think it's okay, right? You're welcome. Yeah. Anybody's welcome. You're all welcome here.
Absolutely.
Welcome to our home. Mm-hmm. Okay, I interrupted you, Farron. What were you saying?
I was going to ask you to dive into our first step. What's the theme we're sharing today?
Oh, okay. Here we go. All right. So the theme for today, our podcast, is Yoga Sutra 1.1, Atta Yoga Anusasanam. If you're listening to our last episode, that translates to now is yoga. So it's completely timeless wisdom, right? This could anytime. Yeah, anybody could gain benefit from that. But these seemingly simple 3-word phrase, it lets us know that yoga is being in the now. You can practice it in anything you do as long as you are fully present and in the moment. So right now, sitting here, Farron, talking to you, I am practicing yoga.
I'm practicing yoga too.
Yeah, I am completely in this breath and the words as I say them. Right? I am just also sitting on my floor, not in a yoga asana. I'm not in a pose. I am practicing yoga, though. I am with you, locked in, totally present.
I am also sitting on the floor. Why are we both sitting on the floor?
Because we're yoga teachers and we're children at heart. My hips might not like it later, but whatever. So believe it or not, Farron, the opposite can also be true. How many times have you seen people or yourself been practicing asana, different postures on your yoga mat, right? Your yoga mat is rolled out and you're not even practicing yoga.
Yeah, my head's completely somewhere else.
Yeah. Like just because you're in a yoga class and on a piece of rubber that we call a yoga mat and maybe in clothes that you bought that have the name yoga thrown in front of them, right? That does and you're in a yoga class, right? So you don't need to be practicing yoga in that case. That just blows my mind when I think about that. So how is that possible? Well, we have to go back to the sutras, right? Sutra 1.1 tells us that yoga is the practice of being in the now. And I don't know about you, but some days when I am on my mat, my mind is anywhere but here and now. Totally wild. I think I'm practicing yoga. I am not. Mind blowing. To think that you can put your body into shapes and breathe and sweat and still not be practicing yoga because you're not actually present in the now. Well, I don't know. That's just crazy.
Then that means you're just like exercising, but
yeah, right. Mm-hmm. It's really important differentiation. I think it's really important. So what's the point of being in the now, Farron? Like if you're going to practice Sutra 1.1, what problem are you going to solve? What's the point?
Great question. Well, last time we talked about the monkey mind and you explained to me what monkey mind actually means.
If you missed it, you should listen to that episode because the last episode we did, because Farron's mind was completely blown.
Like, I just thought that it was like, monkeys are maybe more primitive than humans, and so, like, their mind's not very developed. I don't know. I was thinking a completely different way, and then you're like,
What do
"No, it's
you
because the
have?
actual monkey swings from branch to branch," and I was like, "Oh."
I mean, first of all, what do you have against monkeys? Their minds are like
I
super advanced, I think. They're
I love
almost just like us. They're just
It's
like us.
true.
It's
It's
kind of
true.
mind blowing. Did you watch that documentary? Oh, shoot. It was on Netflix. My husband and I recently watched it about chimps. Chimp Nation. Was that what it was called?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh my gosh. It's like 5 or 6 episodes. You have to watch it. And it's mind blowing how chimp like we are.
You know what we're doing right now? We're swinging from branch to branch, and we're not staying on top.
Shoot.
So we're not going to waste our time dwelling and obsessing about our past and our future. So much of our time is spent in our minds when we worry about the future or we get stuck in the experiences or the stories that we tell ourselves from our past, which keeps us from being present in the moment.
Mm.
And so many of us already have difficulty staying present and focused, like Heidi and I just did.
I mean, it's a good
So this
show. It's a good show.
It's a great show, I'm sure. This is where monkey mind comes into play. So, practicing the sutra, yoga is now, now is yoga, you can help solve the problem of never truly being able to be in the present and focused on what you're doing.
Mhm.
We can also maybe struggle with stress and anxiety. Mental health can be such a heavy burden to carry. And we certainly don't mean to imply that if you just be in the now and living in yoga, that you're just going to fix all your stress and anxiety. It's going to disappear. But it's a practice, right?
Yes.
Yes. I'm sure that there are more problems that we can solve by practicing Sutra 1.1, but what are some of the challenges that we face as we practice
I mean, you just heard one. My thoughts go all over the place, right? I
it?
am diagnosed with ADHD, but irrelevantly, that's not even the right word. Irrelevantly, irregardless. Oh no, Farron loves linguistics. Irregardless is not a word either. Regardless.
Irregardless is
So,
not.
so we're
Just
doing it
regardless.
again. Regardless of having diagnosis of ADHD, having racing thoughts and distractions during practice, the monkey mind struggle is real, right? That's going to make it really
Absolutely.
challenging to practice this when your thoughts are thinking about Chimp Nation and ADHD and anything else that happens, right? I
Yep.
think that a lot of people face this challenge also. Let me know if you agree with developing resistance to fully embracing the present moment because you might not like what's happening in your life right now. And if that can be really uncomfortable, like if you're going through a stressful experience or something really challenging, choosing to sit in that discomfort of all the stuff and heaviness that's going on, like that can feel really icky and hard and you might want to avoid it. So if you're living in this now, you are fully embodying all of the stuff, the hard things, the good things, the stresses, and that can be really uncomfortable and you
We
might not
never
want to
said
do
that
it.
yoga was easy.
Why not?
Because you got to stay in the now. Who can do that?
Oh, this is hard stuff and this is just the first sutra. I think there's also right this you can be like really impatient with the process of mindfulness, right? Like you take 2 steps forward, I am here, I am now, and then I'm back in Chimp Nation, 5 steps back, right? Like you think you're being in the now and you realize that your thoughts are anywhere but here. And that can be really hard, but it's worth it despite these challenges, right?
Yep.
We still want to step
Definitely worth
into
it.
it.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
talk about the benefits of actually practicing and maybe even achieving this yoga in the now mindset.
Mm,
You can actually help, maybe not completely make it disappear, but reduce your stress and anxiety by grounding in the current moment. When you
mm.
focus on what's happening right now, you can practice letting go of worries about the past or the future and just feel more calm emotionally and mentally.
Wait, I have to tell you, did you know I have
Yeah.
a tattoo on my left foot that I made symbolize be here now? It's like a little dot with a ripple of water on either side and little dots going forward and little dots going back. And it's on my foot to remind me to ground into the moment we're in, not too far to the sides or forward or backward, but stay present in this moment where my foot stands.
Oh
Hmm.
my gosh, I love that. I did not know you had that. I thought you were going to bring up your monkey tattoo.
Oh no, that's for another. That's for
That's
another
for
show.
another
We'll talk
show.
about the monkey. We've already talked about monkeys enough today.
Cool. So there's a quote that I love on the same topic. It
Mm.
may not be from a yogi, but it's still a really cool quote. It was from Lao Tzu, and he said, if you are depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. If you're at peace, you're living in the now.
Beautiful.
Yeah, right? That just tells you the benefit of practicing this. Like, you'll be at peace.
Yeah, I
Of course.
absolutely love that. And, Farron, I think one of the things, our goal of the show that we made is to be able to take these quotes or inspiration from our life. I mean, Lao Tzu, that's not like a current philosopher, right?
Right.
But to take something from outside of the yoga texts and apply it back, right? Like this quote reminded you of Sutra 1.1 and brought you back to it. So it's backing up and making, your theming like maybe that's your theme. It's just that quote, right? That's
Right.
what you want to get to your students, but you back it up by connecting it to like, this is a real thing. Sutra 1.1 tells us yoga is now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point in theming is that you can gather inspiration from anywhere, but then if you're able to also tie it to a sutra, it just makes it that much stronger.
Exactly.
What other benefits can we get by paying full attention to what you're doing and experiencing? You can think more clearly, you can make better decisions, and you can increase your productivity. And like, who doesn't want to do that?
I was reading a book for my yoga book club that I'm running. It's the Yoga of Happiness. And in it, they talk about this chapter on meditation, talks about how our society thinks that we're so evolved because we're excellent at multitasking. But in reality, multitasking is not excellent. And it just means that we're not present in anything that we're doing at all.
Yeah.
And super ineffective and not productive, even though we think we're, maximizing our time and getting so much done at once. But we're not
Yeah. But
really
we should
actually
be single
present.
tasking.
Exactly.
Yes. All right. Well, I think when we live mindfully, which is what I think of when I hear Sutra 1.1, that it clears the space for you to enjoy all the moments in your life and appreciate the simple pleasures, like what you're doing right now, like this very first sip of coffee, or like how my feet feel on the grass, like just being right here in the moment. There's a quote for that.
Oh, what's your quote? What's your quote?
Another quote: no amount of regret changes the past. No amount of worry changes the future. But any amount of gratitude changes the present. Boom. I don't know who
Mm,
said it, but it's great
I like it.
because, yeah, I mean, think about that. I'm always worried about something, but no amount of worry is going to change the future. It's just going to like give me stress and anxiety. So, hey,
It's
let's
going to
just
kind
stay
of
here.
wreck the present moment that you're in.
Yeah. Research also tells us that living a life of mindfulness and gratitude can lead to greater overall life satisfaction and a deeper sense of contentment with the present, even when we're working and living through our life's challenges.
I love research. When we can back all of this philosophy by current research, or I guess older
Science.
research also. Yeah,
Yes.
science. Love science. Basically, everything we shared with you, if you're a teacher, if you're not a teacher, well, you're going to listen anyway. Everything that we shared with you can make up your introduction or opening of your class. Obviously, not conversationally like we did, but all of this stuff introduces your theme. Or if you have more time, maybe you use this as a springboard for a longer form Dharma talk, if that's your style that you enjoy doing. But once you get through this first part of the class, chromatic yoga methodology, the way that Farron and I were trained and where we studied with Matt Giordano, that teaches us that we want to create a what's called a thematic through line that we can weave through our entire class. So as we said in the last 2 episodes, it helps us to hear something, at least, Farron, how many times?
7 times.
To truly remember it. We might use this thread of our theme to weave through the entire class, but it can help to have a shorter phrase or even a few shorter phrases that sum up the point you made in your opening of class. You don't have to say it all over again, right? That would be every downward dog to say everything that we just said would be kind of absurd. But
That
you
was a
want
lot.
to say something, it's a lot, right? But you want to say something that reminds the students of your teaching. So if I were to teach this class, an example I might use for a class on Sutra 1.1 might be here now, or yoga is now, or even this breath in, this breath out,
One that
or
I use
just,
for the sutra, I always say,
yeah.
just this. Just
Mm,
this. Yeah, so good.
I love it. It's simple, gets the point across.
All right. In addition to that, Heidi and I have some extra tools to enhance our classes. And we use those tools to continue to weave the theme throughout the class to make it just a well rounded, really thoughtful experience. We have those extra things listed on our inspo sheets. It'll be found at themeweaversyoga.com/episode 3. So without going into all the details, we include on the inspo sheet a few inspirational quotes, just like the ones that I shared earlier, that
Mm.
remind us of Sutra 1.1. We have some songs to add to your playlist to help bring the theme to life. We have some mantras, some mudras, everything to just weave into your class to make it that much stronger. Because we both love the physical aspect of the yoga practice, we also wanted to talk about how you can enhance the class by using a peak pose that symbolizes being in the now, as Sutra 1.1 teaches. There are so many choices, but for today's class, we can focus on another one of the basics, right? Sutra 1.1 is like the start. And so,
Yeah.
how about Tadasana, mountain pose? Like, it's
Mm.
super foundational, it's a standing posture. It encourages students to focus on their alignment, their breath, their presence in the moment. It's easy to just stand there, right? But to really embody Tadasana, mountain pose, you have to stand with full awareness and activation of the entire body. On the outside, it looks like it's super simple, but internally, your muscles are active, they're strong, they're working hard, and you are with your breath.
I always
If
find it so
you, yeah,
amazing, Farron, when I teach a class with mountain pose, sometimes I'll start the class in mountain pose, not the traditional way that people might be used to me teaching with them like in child's pose or laying on their back. I'll start standing at the top of your mat in mountain. And
yeah,
then throughout class, like you teach mountain over and over in different ways. And by the end, the way that they're standing feels so incredibly different than the way that they first arrived. And it's mind blowing. And they love that class.
yes.
Mm.
I've taught like that before too. I'm like, all right, stand at the top of your mat. And people are like, wait, what? Like, we're not
What?
starting on our backs today. We're just being active. But then,
Ugh.
yeah, it completely changes how they stand in
It's so
mountain pose.
grounding, right? Just to get
Yeah.
them to connect with their feet.
Yes.
So how would you layer some of the postures through class if the pose that you might start with is also your peak pose? What sort of layering postures would you put throughout the class in order to get them prepared for it when they might already do it in the class or like just be so used to it because you always stand, right? People
Yeah.
always stand.
Well, I mean, if you start standing, you can always just rock side to side to see how the weight moves throughout your feet and, activate like your ankle muscles and little tendons and everything is just like, yeah, just getting super into it from grounding from the bottom up. You have to engage different muscles to stop yourself from falling in any direction. You can
Mm.
also, if you do want to start them on their back instead of standing, then they take an active shavasana, like finding mountain pose while lying on your back. It's really different from a regular shavasana.
It really
You
is, and
can
if you
do
did that, Farron, if, like, you're near a wall, you could have them, like, take a little field trip off of their mats, laying down on the ground with their feet pressing into the wall as they're laying down, so
Oh,
the
yeah.
wall becomes the ground, but they're laying down, so it takes gravity out of the picture, but to feel how your feet have to still actively press and engage into the
Ooh,
wall, it's kinda nice.
so good. I love that. I'm gonna do that next
Mm.
class. All right. Bird dog, you can also
Oh, yeah.
do to find mountain in your leg as you raise it back behind you in the rest of your body. So, yeah, I mean, it's just in one leg, but you're still finding mountain pose in that one leg, as well as
Mm.
in supported warrior 3. So you can ask yourself if you can find mountain pose there, even with fingertips on the ground and your leg is kicking back.
That's nice because a lot of the times people like to externally rotate their hip in both bird dog and in warrior 3 or supported warrior 3, so this would have to bring their awareness so much to now, to this moment. Like, are your toes still facing down? Or your hips neutral to the
Yeah.
ground like they would be in mountain? Like, are you now? Here, are you here now? Mm,
Yes.
yeah,
Even
it's
in
pretty
like
cool.
three-leg down dog, I find the
That's a
same
big
thing.
one.
Everyone
Mhm.
points their toes out, and I'm like, their toes should be pointing down at the ground. Don't externally rotate your hip.
Unless that's what you're doing, right? Unless you're trying to open
Right.
your hip. Yeah, exactly. I love that. So that's pretty cool. This is awesome, Farron. It feels like we really provided a great class where we weaved this theme of Sutra 1.1 now as yoga throughout it. But we need the last part. We need to wrap it up with our pretty bow and continue weaving the theme right to the very end. Right? We talked about that in our theming episode. You can't just start and carry it through and then never actually finish it. So as you wind down from the physical practice and your students are preparing to walk off of the mat, notice how your yoga practice does not end, right? You have this opportunity to keep practicing Sutra 1.1 as yoga is now, whether you stand, like wherever you're standing, not only in your mat, but in every single step and every single breath you take throughout your day. Once you say that and end your class in the style that you personally prefer to end it, you have this beautiful woven theme throughout the entirety of your class. So, Farron, For our listeners, do you want to sum it up, walking everybody through this 6-step process we used for being a weaver of themes?
We have a 6-step process of theme weaving. The first step is to name the theme. So you get up in front of your class, say today it's Yoga Sutra 1.1, now is yoga. Step 2, we share the problems that our theme solves. So for this class, it's quieting the monkey mind so you're not, swinging around thought to thought. Third step is sharing the challenges that can come up when we practice this. Well, it's just a hard practice in itself. You have to still the mind. That's really hard. It's really hard to stay in the present moment when you're worried about the future or concerned about the past. Number 4, we give our students the results, the benefits, because these challenges come up. So why should we even try it, right? So if we practice it, we create calm, quiet, and clear thoughts so we can practice being in this breath, in this moment, to calm that swinging monkey mind. And then the 5th step is have our thematic through line, our signature phrase that we can weave throughout our class. So a few we offered were be here now, be in this breath, yoga is now, and just this. Lastly, we have our conclusion. You wrap it up. That can be either before Shavasana or maybe at the end of Shavasana.
Curled up on their side in the fetal position. It's like a nice moment.
Yeah. That's a good
Mm-hmm.
moment to do it.
Yeah.
So just remind the students that they can take this practice off of their mat and as they walk throughout their day to continue to practice yoga, because yoga is life. Yoga is now. Yoga is all the time. You can go to our website, themeweaversyoga.com/episode 3 to grab the inspo sheet for Sutra 1.1. And that'll help you bring this theme alive in your own voice, in your own practice, your own teaching. Please reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, or email. Let us know how it lands. We want to hear about your classes that you're teaching with these themes. We want to know, how did it go?
Tune in next week for another episode of Theme Weavers, where we will explore Sutra 1.2 and how to inspire your students in stilling the fluctuations of their mind. And if you're unsure on the structure of how to weave your theme throughout the class, please feel free to go back and listen to episode 2, Why Weave? The Importance of Threading Intention into Your Yoga, for background and inspiration. Until next time, we weave you in peace.